Everybody back in? Almost everybody's back in. Yeah, they were supposed to give me over an hour on this and they didn't.
It's always annoying.
Makes life interesting. Okay. There we go. Zach's here. Okay. I think we had one more person on phone.
Virginia and
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to share screen. There we go. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. But that one of the things, I think IHS is dealing much more specifically with the idea that dispensing personnel cannot and should not in any way get involved in more in-depth reasoning. The thing is, you are reaching a point with the materials that you're being presented in this associate's program with information that a lot of audiologists get when they go into their master's program. So one of the things I advised when I was talking with a lot of audiologists who were going to take their dispensing exam for New Jersey was, don't overthink it. And if it looks like it's questionable, go for the least opinionated. So you would look at this severe, mild and moderate. Well, mild and moderate is easier. You have less feedback problems. That would make more sense. So yeah, they would probably be easier to, the severe wouldn't be any easier than mild and moderate. So you'd say false. Go with the IHS concept of that, their approach. They're going with the least prepared people versus then the most prepared. And you guys are going to be ahead of the game when it comes to actually working.
Well, they want to know best practice.
Mm-hmm. But their concept of a practice and reality of a practice are a little different. I had, the same thing happened with exams years ago. I mean, they've updated it, but they still have a way to go. Okay, people commonly have a 5 to 7 year wait before admitting that they need help.
True.
True. Market penetration for mild to moderate loss is about 50%.
True. I know that's false, sorry.
Yeah, I got that one wrong, but mostly just because I couldn't remember.
Well, would you say it's true or false? People with mild to moderate hearing loss, do half of them have hearing aids?
I would say that the correct answer is false, but I marked true, and then thinking back on it, it makes more sense.
I put false because they are still in denial, usually by that range.
Okay. Williams Pocket Talker. Bain had that in his article where he was talking about the Pocket Talker. Are you familiar with what it is?
Not really.
Okay. Going back to the days when I was young, it looked like a little transistor radio, something about the size of a pack of cigarettes. Something about the size of a pack of cigarettes.
What is that?
With either headphones or a single earpiece. And you have it's like a plug. It's like if you were listening to your phone on with earbuds.
It
Okay.
looks like Zach tried to ask a question.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was referring to. It says, is it a matter of configuration as opposed to severity? I don't know what question he was asking it on, but it's on the chat.
Oh, I wonder if that was about the harder to hit, fit mild to moderate or severe to profound.
Probably.
Okay.
It just popped up, so.
Okay. What we'll do is I'm gonna do a little bit more on that. That was question 27, right? Right. Okay. I've got that marked down. I'm going to go over 27 as well. But
Did we decide anything about 29?
29, about 50%.
Got back on.
Okay, we're going to leave that as false right now,
Okay.
and that's also going to be double checked.
Okay, and 30, was it in the notes about that pocket talker?
That was in the Bain article, because he talks about always having a pocket talker available. So when a patient comes in and they have a hearing problem and you want to talk to them so you don't kill yourself, you put this on their ears and show them how much better they can hear. And then you can talk to them.
I remember working in the hospital, we had something similar to that for hard of hearing patients. So we could communicate with them and explain their medical procedures, because, otherwise you're writing everything down and trying to get to, make sure they understand it. So
yeah, which is especially good if they're having trouble reading because they don't have their reading glasses.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, read that question again to yourselves and tell me whether it's true or false. A pocket talker and some of the other devices that are available through Radio Shack usually run between $100 and $200.
To me, that seems inexpensive when you're talking about a hearing aid that's several thousand.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But read the entire question again. Read it carefully. When you plug your earbuds into your phone to listen to your music, Williams Pocket Talker is an inexpensive wireless assistive listening device.
Oh, it's not wireless.
Right.
Damn.
That's
That's
a
sneaky.
false on it, yeah.
So that one's false.
Okay.
Everybody read over wireless. I think I gave points on that because just about everybody read over that one. Anyway, let's see. When communicating with someone who is deaf, always.
B.
Look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Give them the time of day.
Right.
Because
They're
if the
your
interpreter is not even there, because you're still trying to give them your full attention.
Right. You're talking to the person, not to the interpreter.
Exactly.
Helen Keller once said, blindness cuts one off from things. Deafness cuts one off from
Other people.
It's a great quote.
Very good. Researchers found that when background noise is 55, speech is spoken at about
61.
61.
correct. Research just shown that when background is 75, speech is spoken at about
I chose none of the above because
Me
it
too.
says if noise is 75 dB/SPL, then speech is often 74 dB/SPL.
Mm-hmm.
So being that
Yeah.
it wasn't 74, I chose none of the above.
Yeah, and I think that's what I filled out as well. And it looks like I got points for it, though, as I go back and double check.
yeah, because
I
I
didn't
think
get points for it, but yeah, that.
everybody got it. Everybody got it wrong. The answer that Dr. Venema gave me was 71. But I now that I go back over it, I agree with you guys. All right. That's because speaking at 70, over 70 hurts after a while. All right, let's go in here. Group actually voted against this members dispensing hearing aids.
Asha.
Asha.
Right. Also, ADA didn't exist and AAA didn't exist.
Mhm.
And the Missouri Hearing Society is hearing instrument specialists. Okay, let's go down here. Ooh, I used the Canadian spelling of about. Okay, there are about this many hearing impaired people in the United States.
35 million.
I could remember I put 350 million, but it's been a while.
350 million, 10%.
Page 2, lesson 1 at the top.
I've got a proofreader here. Okay, yes, 35 million people. And I think what happened was a lot of people looked at B and felt that it looked right because there were 2 commas and 3 spaces,
Yep.
but it was A. In order to emphasize a word when communicating with a hard of hearing person, what would you do?
B.
Pause before and after.
Pause, yep.
Bingo, very good. Common sense tip for those talking with hearing impaired people is likely to be
Slow down
Slow
your rate of
down.
speech.
and that when you're counseling family members, a lot of times that's one of the best pieces of advice, and you'll find yourself saying that over and over and over again. Major issue for those with hearing loss in the process of communicating is
Fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
and suspicion. It's amazing how many people with hearing problems become paranoid because they think, especially the older ones, people are talking about them.
Was that in the notes? The major issue?
But fatigue is the major issue because it's exhausting. By the end of the day, you have to actively listen versus hearing and just listening to what you want to.
Well, I just, even with me having lost myself, I also have so much distraction from the tinnitus that sometimes it becomes a major issue because you can't distinguish what sound is what. So that's what I put.
Okay. I mean, I can see the logic there, but the major one is fatigue because not everyone with hearing loss has the tinnitus.
Mm-hmm.
Who's driving?
I don't think it's driving. I think it's someone's computer is hot or...
Yeah, I hear a computer fan clicking on and clicking off
Yeah, it's
again.
a fan clicking on for a computer, which mine runs all the time. When I'm running collaborations, for some reason, it works extra hard. But that's not mine cycling.
Or okay, next question. 40.
So
It sounds like a blender.
we're unicycling. Okay. The hyponasal speech is often associated with those who are
I put
Deaf or deaf.
yeah, deaf or deaf.
I got
Little
that
D, big
wrong.
D.
right here in Texas. Okay, no, that's
Virginia, you know what page that was on?
What page? Oh, the deaf. Oh, I got it. Crap, I'm doing 3 things at once. I'm sorry. Are we talking about the deaf question?
Yeah.
yes.
Lesson on page 5.
There you go. Thank you, Rochelle.
All I have was page 5. I was a blender going.
Lesson 1.
Thank you.
Okay, who can describe hyponasal speech? Or imitate it?
Oh,
Please-
I've never
please.
been good at imitating. When I hear it, I recognize it.
And the person is talking more through the nose, and the soft palate doesn't close off because they don't hear it. When they talk more like this, it's more of a flat sound. So even if they get the s, it's a, the other sounds are making it very flat. So that's hyponasal. The name to associate with self-efficacy is
Bandura.
Bandura. I really like the Bob Dylan one though.
okay. We try. Pandora. Okay. Was that the guy who played Zorro? No, that was somebody else. Okay. Bain's familiar word recognition test has what feature?
High frequency emphasis.
Hmm.
That's right.
I couldn't remember. I put low.
Okay. What's the reason that he used the high frequency emphasis?
That's where all your speech clarity is in the high frequencies.
And the people will do horribly on that test. He also is the one, remember I was discussing that one of the things he did was he changed the ratio between decibel and octave. So instead of his audiogram making a square, it made a rectangle, so the slopes looked much more dramatic, which I wasn't thrilled with, but he was doing it to inform the patient and make it more specific for the patient. And by making that word list, when he has them saying this, fist, hist, and they're going something else. Anyway, I'll let Jesse make up whatever the answer is. Baby boomer years.
46 to 64. Lesson 1, page 1.
According to Roy Bain, 3 million Americans are at least this old.
85.
And that is correct.
Yeah, that's page 1, lesson 1, too, I think.
If someone's main complaint is hearing a noise, what configuration would you suspect?
Sloping, mild, moderate.
Yep, high frequencies are more affected than the lows, therefore they get more distortion. Background noise covers up the consonants even more. Moderate hearing loss.
40 to 60.
Hmm.
High-pitched speech sounds are the unvoiced vowels, voiced consonants,
Unvoiced.
So your unvoiced consonants. Yep.
and you can again figure those out by making some of the sounds. Of course, when you were proctor, the proctor was probably wondering why you were sitting there going, normal preference for most comfortable loudness in speech is about,
50 to 60 decibels.
that's right, 50 to 60. And normal conversational speech is approximately 55 to 65 decibel. So it all overlaps there. According to your notes, letters to other healthcare professionals should be no more than.
I put 4 paragraphs.
I think 4 is probably the correct answer. I'm going to be making a note on
But
that.
in reality, you talked about keeping it short and sweet. I mean, it's more like 4 to 5 sentences.
I put 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. I'm going to be going back and making some changes on that because the notes are giving, you're saying having it no more than 4 paragraphs, but usually going 2 paragraphs. That's kind of an ambiguous question, so I'm going to be making some changes on that. Okay. One of the later things to inquire about when using a case history is
Hearing aid history.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
because you're asking about everything else first.
Right.
Okay. Oral rehab teaches how to maximize the use of,
One's residual hearing.
that's right. So you're using whatever residual hearing you have, you're maximizing the perception that you're getting from the auditory input, the hearing aid correction, but to use everything else. So that's all of it, and that's where a lot of the LACE programs and some of the other programs that are on the computer, they train you by going through. It's like the Rosetta Stone, where you're listening and trying to differentiate sounds. Okay, from your notes on vents, we went over this a couple of times. Vents. Hmm?
Occlusion.
Everybody agree?
Right.
It will do all of the others, but most of the time, you want to get rid of that hollow effect and make it more
Right. It
comfortable.
reduces the occlusion effect of it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Assistive listening devices are broken down into how many categories?
3.
That is correct. When troubleshooting a hearing aid, what's the first thing you do?
I put change the battery because it's what I do. But yeah, listen to hear feedback was also an excellent answer.
Yeah, listen to hear feedback is usually the first thing you do, especially if the person says, I put in a fresh battery yesterday.
Yeah.
Because if they put in a fresh battery yesterday and you're not getting any sound out of it, unless you have a battery tester to check to see whether or not the battery's dead, and that will show you whether or not you have a short in the hearing aid that is draining the battery dramatically.
Well, I think it also is, what the complaint actually is, when you say troubleshooting, we don't know the chief complaint.
Yeah, the problem I have, and I complained about this with my front office person on a regular basis, because what I did in my office was I had a drop-off form, because some people would come in and drop off the hearing aid. It's not working. They had to figure out, or they had to fill out the form and say what their complaint was. Now, if they just said dead, that was it. But if they said static or, it's noisy, that gave me an idea of what to look for. But if the aid was just dropped off, and this is what she did a lot of times, she would leave it on the lab bench. And I'd say, what's wrong with it? She goes, I don't know. They just dropped it off and said they'd be back later. You listen. If you don't hear it, then you start through the normal checkoff procedure of wax vent, go through the plumbing check first, then go through, and then changing the batteries in there too. Checking the receiver is further down the list. Either listening for feedback or change the battery. So I'm going to change that. It's 54. Either A or B or D. Okay. Some of you are going to be much happier with this.
I'll take it.
Okay. Okay. The little round hearing aid batteries are usually this type.
Zinc air.
And I was amazed that people got this wrong. Mercury batteries have been outlawed for well over 10 or 15 years.
Lithiums
In
are too
Germany.
expensive to buy unless they are, a lot of the new ones carry them, but they're the rechargeables usually.
Right. NiCad was mostly the rechargeable cells.
Mm-hmm.
The lithium cells, the problem in production for the smaller batteries was stabilizing the lithium compound so they wouldn't expand or explode inside the hearing aid.
Right.
So zinc air, and we've gone over that when we were typing the batteries, the size 10, 312, 13, and 675, zinc air, pull the tape off, activate with air. So I was really amazed that I was getting some wrong answers on that one. Troubleshooting notes by Roy Bain. Oldest hearing aid manufacturer is one of these.
Belltown.
Everybody agree? If they really wanted to psych you out, if Oticon was in this list, Oticon is
That would mess with me.
close to 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Belltone is basically the oldest U.S. manufacturer. Starkey came out in the 70s. That's when the company was started. Unitron was in the 60s or 70s. And Phonak was in the 50s or 60s, I think. But Belltone's been around since the 40s. Okay, aside from oral hygiene concerns, removing wax also does what?
Reduces feedback. Because it creates its own kind of gap
Yep,
where air can, where the sound can re-amplify.
homemade earplugs. Okay, initial hearing aid instructions and orientation, most importantly, involves explaining.
Insertion of the aid.
That's what I put.
Because if they can't put it in and they can't change the batteries, everything else is worthless.
That's
Right.
right. They can understand digital processing. They can understand the 16 programs you put in it and the bundling of the TV thing in it, but if they can't put it in their ear. When you tell them to stick it in their ear, you want them to know you're talking about the hearing aid. And I told them to stick it in their ear almost every delivery. I would say, okay, now I can actually say this and you can't get mad at me. And they would laugh.
That's
Especially
also the first thing you check for at the follow-up is if they have it in their ear or not. Because if they don't have it in their ear, then you're sunk. You're starting back at square one.
You know what the biggest problem is with some of these new aids? When they come in, you can't see them. They can be wearing them and you're going, oh great, they don't have them. They've brought the bag with them, great. And you look, you say, okay, show me the aid. And they reach up and pull it out of their ear. And you're like, oh, for crying out loud. Anyway, the first things clients can do at home while wearing the hearing aids is
Read a newspaper aloud.
Yep.
what are the reasons for that?
Get used to your own voice.
Get used to your own voice and hearing a voice. So it's a combination of two things. You're getting used to hearing speech, and you're getting used to yourself talking. Okay, question 60. The listening and communication enhancement tool is associated with this name.
Sweeto.
I had that one wrong.
No, it's sweet. I try.
It's kind of a fun name, but yeah, I don't. That's the only reason I remembered it is because it's just a.
Yeah, well, there was the time at the convention I told him to get his foot out of my coffee because I didn't like sugar. Anyway.
Oh man.
There was an old TV cowboy series called Sugarfoot, which basically meant a city boy who came west. And that was an old joke. I don't care if your name is Sugarfoot, get your toe out of my coffee. Anyway, let's see what we got. Save and submit. I turned it in late. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, and my meeting's going to end in 10 minutes. God bless. I'll stay with free. Where's okay? There's okay. $590 out of 600. So that means I answered one of them wrong. Let's see which one. And I think it was one we were discussing, and I was saying that it could have been either one.
Just passed it.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Somewhere in there, I saw it.
So the last one was Siegel. No, it's oh, there it is. Right, we were talking about it. And I even said they usually use FM or direct transmission. Okay. So as a group, we did well on the midterm. Individually, I'm going to be making some changes on the grades.
So is the final going to be proctored?
At this point, with this kind of confusion, we're going to do two things. I'm going to make some changes on the final, and I will remove the proctoring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't sound so sad.
No, that's
It's a big relief,
yeah.
especially for us at the end of our semesters whenever we have boards coming up. So
Yeah, and that's when the aggravation really gets going.
right, there's
All right.
too many questions.
Some of these tests, and possibly over the next few weeks, not until after the 9th, I will start getting hair back. So we'll see what happens. Exam questions are frustrating for a number of reasons. You expect them to be trickier than they are, and sometimes the information is something that you glean from notes and discussion that isn't a set note that you took. So we're going to try to make it a little bit smoother, but again, we're going to be working with the quizzes. The exam counted for 40%. That's one of the reasons that it dropped suddenly. Adding the two, midterm and final, together will be 40% of your final grade. So it's not going to have as great an effect because there's going to be more points assigned through the quizzes and things. So you're going to be seeing a little bit less of an effect that way. The changes I'm going to make in the grades on the midterms are going to have an effect. I may be putting in amended midterm grades. We'll see how the administration goes with that. Okay?
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Okay. Keep in mind, I'm not here to screw you guys over. I want to work with you. I want you to succeed. And one of the things I have to say, working with you guys and knowing the other people in different states that are in the field, I am very proud of the work that you do and the questions that you ask, because you are the future of this field and this profession. The ones that are just in it because they can sell are not. Because this is going to change more and more towards a rehabilitative type of programming, because now that the over-the-counter aids look like they're going to become a reality, knowing what to do with them is going to be more important than selling them.
Right.
And you're going to start unbundling your fee structure and start billing people when they come in for an adjustment, billing them when they come in for a cleaning, billing them when they come in for a modification or repair or reprogramming. We're going to become more of a service related rather than a sales related. But there's going to be sales involved in there too, because there are going to be people who say, I don't want something over the counter, I want the best I can get. Those are the ones you're going to enjoy. The others, make them want to come back to you for their next unit. And the more knowledgeable you are and the more confident that you are, the more likely it is that that's going to happen. All right, we've been on for an hour and a half. Take a break.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night. Anybody has any questions, please let me know. And as fun as it was with this session, we can do instant sessions individually instead of Tuesdays. Tuesday's still good for everybody?
Yep, still works for me.
Okay, because now that other than the show, which last week was Tech Week and we were going crazy, so Tuesday was out, I'm available almost every evening now. So, except this week when we have shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
I'll show you some pictures.
I was gonna say, bring good stuff. Bring the DVD copy.
All right. Have a good night, guys. Again, any questions, let me know.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.